Hello guys, how are you? Welcome to my channel, and in this video we are going to see how we can use shaders inside Godot engine. So before proceeding forward, let's just understand what is a shader. So basically a shader is a program that runs under any material that you have inside your project, whether if you are using a 3D game, if you are making a 3D game. So if you are applying any materials over it, so shader are the code that runs beneath under the hood of those materials. And even if you are using a 2D game, so if you are rendering sprites, so in that case as well, the shader is the basic thing that sets the rules of how any element on the screen is going to be displayed and rendered. Okay, so there are few types of shader. There is this vertex shader, which is basically it operates on the vertex, which is the smallest element in any 3D model that you have. Then there is this pixel shader, which is basically a shader that works on whatever pixels that is getting rendered on the screen. Then there is this geometry shaders, which work on the faces, like the triangles that the 3D model is having. And then there is this last shader, which is the compute shader. So it is kind of different from the other shader. It runs directly on the GPU, and it is basically there for the parallel rendering and image processing and the other external VFX effects that you use. Okay, so shader, if we talk about the shader, so there are mainly three kind of language that is available. One is the high level shading language, which is also known as HLSL, sorry. Then there is this OpenGL shading language, which is GLSL, and then there is CG. Okay, and to be honest, I am not very good in writing shader code, and thankfully in Godot we have something known as visual shader, and these shaders are really special because it it allows you to just drag few nodes, logical shader related nodes, and connect them together to form a very nice and good effects. So that is what we are going to see just in a few seconds. So let me just jump in to Godot and show you how these shader work. Alright, so now we are inside the Godot engine, and now we are going to see how we can create these visual shaders. So first thing first, if we want to see how a shader is working, we have to create you can say we have to do some basic setup. Okay, so right now I'm going to click on 3D scene, and for this one let me just say root. So this is basically this is the root of our scene. Let me press Ctrl S and save the scene, and let me just enter scenes, and here let's say main. So basically this is going to be our main scene. Now I'm going to add a CSG mesh. Okay, and let's add a CSG mesh 3D. Alright, and from the right side under the mesh, let's select a sphere. Okay, so now we have created a sphere mesh. Now if we go to the material, right now you can see it's empty because we haven't created any material yet. So let's create a new material. So we are going to create a new so if we click over here, we get three options: new standard material 3D, new ORM material, new shader material. So if we select a new standard material 3D, you can see there is this default shader that from which this material has been created, and we get all sort of options here to customize. For example, this if we, let's say, change the color over here, you can see the color changes. Okay, now let's say that I don't want this, I want something unique. I want to create some sort of effect, let's say a glowing edge effect, which is very common in games, right? So if you want, let's say if you want to create that, so how we can create that? So thankfully it's very easy. So I'm going to revert this change, and from here I'm going to select new shader material. Okay, and from the shader drop down we can click new shader, and now it is going to ask that where you want to save your shader file. So first thing first, let's create a new folder called shaders. Okay, and here you can set this up, and now from the type you can select visual shader, because we are going to set up our shading things visually. So we have so make sure to select the visual shader over here, and rest of the settings can remain same. Okay, now for the path, we have this main.tres, which stands for the resource, which is basically the basic resource extension. So here we can, let's say, glow.tres, that is going to be our visual shader file name. Okay, now hit create. So you can see now our shader has file has been created, and right now you can see it's already being used in our current material over here. So let us start with some basics. First, let me show you how we can alter some basic properties of the material. For example, the color, the shininess, I mean the roughness, the metallic and all that. Then we will slowly, gradually, we will step up towards some more advanced topics in this video. Alright, so now in order to start working with the shader, we have to open up this shader editor. Okay, and from here we can also double click it to make sure that our shader editor is correctly displaying the file that we are trying to edit. Okay, so if you are already familiar little bit about the standard materials, so if you see this, you will get a sort of familiarity that okay, we have this alpha, albedo, metallic, roughness and all that. So let's say that for this shader I want something which changes the material property, the albedo property to blue, let's say. So we have to connect this node to something. Okay, so basically all these dots that you can see, these albedo, alpha, metallic, roughness, so they are the output nodes. So we have to give some sort of input, which will then we can connect this to the output node and we can see our changes over here. So let's do that. So for the alpha, let's just right click, and here you can see there are a lot of node options available, which is there in the category and subcategory. So for example, if I want to work with color, so obviously I will go inside this color section, and let's go inside this common, and we have this color function, we have this color operator. Okay, and similarly we have some variables, color constant, color parameter. So let's use a color constant because it's basically defining a constant color, and using this eye icon you can even see the preview. So let's just change its color to something like blue. Let's just go over here, and okay, so now this preview window is basically showing me that this whatever variable is there, this is going to output this result, blue color. Okay, now if I want to see the change over here, what I have to do is basically drag a node, drag this node out of this and connect this to the albedo. So right away you will see that the node has taken effect, and now the property of my material is updated to blue. Okay, now similarly the roughness and the metal, they are the values, they expect the values within some sort of floating values, right, between 0 and 1. So let's say if I want to set whether my this material is metallic or not, so 0 being non-metallic and 1 being full metal, right? So here again I am going to right click and click on add node, and this time let's use some scalar variables. So we are going to use float constant because we want some value between 0 and 1, so that's why we are using this float constant. Let me just connect it to the metallic over here. So by default it was already set to 0, and since I am connecting with a 0 value, so it's not giving any change. So let's say if I want to change it to 1, so now you can see that our material has gone to complete metal, which is having a value of 1. So let me just you can also use Control C and Control V on if a node is selected, then you can use Control C to copy it and Control V to paste it. Okay, so let me connect one more constant to our let me just move it like this. Okay, so let me connect it to the roughness. Okay, and from the for the roughness, let me have it a value of 0.2. So now you can see more clearly that this metallic thing is working. So basically I have set it to 1, which is making it a pure metal, and let's say if I make it 0, so again it has gone to from metal to non-metal. So now we are coming over here and we are making changes. So okay, so step 1 is done. We have successfully created a custom shader, we are able to create node, and we are able to alter its properties. So that's fine, right? Now let's say if we want to use this shader in multiple objects. Okay, so if like any change that you want to make, you have to come over here and you have to basically edit this shader. But what if I want to use this shader for multiple materials having some different properties? For example, let's say if I press Ctrl D to duplicate this, let me duplicate it like this. Okay, so now we have two different objects which is essentially using the same shader. Let's say I want green color in this one. So now here just see this carefully. If I change the color, let's say if I want to change this color to green, so what is going to happen is basically both the colors are going to change to green. So let me show you in a more proper way. Let's say if I want to change it to orange, so both the colors are going to change to orange, but I don't want this. I want this to have a blue color and this to have the same orange color. So using this we are not able to do this, and that's very obvious because right now I'm using the shader constant to apply the color in a constant manner. So whatever the material that is we are going to create, it is only going to use this orange color and just apply it to the albedo property of the material. So if we want if we want this to be editable from outside the editor window, and we want the customization option to be there for different 3D models, so what we can do is we can delete this one, right click add node. Okay, and again we are going to go to the color, okay, variables, and from here you can see color parameter. So color constant is different from color parameter in what terms, you may ask, right? So basically a color constant is, as the name suggests, it's a constant value that is going to be applied to any operations that you are going to perform. Okay, but if you go for the color parameter, so what is this is also going to apply a color only, but the main difference is it is going to add a parameter over here which can be customized later. So let's say if I give this as the base color, and let me just delete this over here and connect this to the albedo. All right, and if I press Ctrl S to save it, you can see there is this new option coming over here, shader parameters, and whatever name that I'm going to give over here comes down over here. Okay, so let's say if I want, if I change this to something base or let's say main color, if I hit enter and press Ctrl S, so you can see this name changed. All right, so this is this sets the basically the main parameter name, and then we have this value. So let's say if I am going to change this value to something like blue that we wanted initially. All right, so now we have this blue color over here, and again you can see this both the things are getting changed. So right now basically what is happening is they are sharing the material instance, they are sharing the same material instance for both the mesh. So if we want to let's say customize this, if I go ahead and change it, so again you will see that the change is taking effect in both of these. So how we can fix this? So it's very easy. All you have to do is come over here, click on this small drop down, and click on make unique. So what this is going to do is basically this is going to create a separate material for this particular object, and now we can easily customize it, right? So if I, let's say if I want to change it to some different color, it's now able to do it. All right, so similarly, if let's say if I want to here, if I'm let's say making this as a float constant, here again I want to make it editable from the outside window for the material. So I can do that very easily. I can click on add node, and for the scalar, if I go under the scalar variables, and here I can use the float parameter. So remember this, in the while using the visual shaders, whatever node that you are adding, if parameter is added on as a along with the name of the whatever node, so that means that that node can be edited from the outside window also, right? So I have added a float parameter now, and let's name this to metalness. Okay, so as the name suggests, I am going to add it to the metallic, and I'll delete this. I'll select this metalness property, Control C, Control V to duplicate it. Okay, and here I'm going to add roughness, and let me just connect this to our roughness and press Ctrl S to save. So now our shader has been created. We are getting three options. We can choose main color, we can choose metalness, whether it is metal or not. Let me just make this a metal, and for the roughness we let's have a value of 0.34. so now you can see this is clearly showing the different property. Okay, similarly here we can select this, set this metalness to 0, and have this roughness to 1. So you can see clearly that one is getting shine and another one is getting a rough kind of surface. So this was it about the basic. So now let's create something interesting. So let's now create a shader. I mean, let's work on the same shader where we can have a glow effect on the edges. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and create the glow shader that we were working on. So let me just delete this one. Okay, so we are going to primarily work on this one. So the effect that we want basically is that this sphere should glow from the edges. Okay, and if you are already familiar a little bit, even a little bit about the materials and their properties, you might already know that to make any material glowy, or you can say emit light, okay, we have to work on the emission property of any material, right? All right, so let me add a node over here, and let's add a color node, right? And for now let's add a color constant, and let me just add it to the emission of our material. So let me just add it over here to the emission. All right, so now you can see that our whole material has gone white, and why is this happening is because we have added a color constant which is evenly spreading the white color emission on top of our material, and that's why it's all white. But this is not what we want, right? We want something which has the effect only on the edges of this glow, right? So to overcome this challenge, what we have is a special node called Fresnel, and that's what we can search from the top, and we have this Fresnel node. So what it does is basically it basically creates an effect which works only on the edges. Okay, and that can be obviously customized from here. So let's do one thing. Let's just multiply this color node to this. So I'll be doing a multiply, and let's have a vector 3 multiply. Okay, so why vector 3 is basically whatever color that we are going to see, is kind of a vector variable. The result is going to be a vector, so I have used vector 3 operations and click just connect the node like this. So now you can see that our white node is getting spread, and in this one we can see our blue node, and that is happening because of this funnel effect that we have added. So you can see this here, we have this power. So if we drag down this power, you can see the effect is going off, but if we increase this power, so you can now see that the effect is taking place. So this is what we wanted, right? So let's set it a value of, let's say, 10. So now you can see that the white glow is coming on, right? So we have like this, we have created successfully our shader. But now there is one final challenge that we have. Let's say we want these properties to be customized as well, like these, right? So what we have to do is, again, go here, Control C and Control V to change to add a parameter. Now for here, let's name this as edge color, and let me connect it to this one, right? And let me drag it this one. And let's say if we want to change the power as well from outside, be able to customize it. So again, we can add a float parameter, and let me drag it over here and connect it to this one, and just name this to glow power. Okay, and now if we hit Control S to save it, now from the shader parameters here we can set the color, whatever color that we want. Let's say we want something like that, and for the glow power, set the value to 10, or if you feel like 10 is too much, you can even decrease the value. Set the roughness to something like 0.24, and now we have a pretty good shining material, which you can see even from the preview window. We have something like this. So if we want to have a different look, we can select this, and we can even customize whatever options that we have. So like this, you saw that how easy it is to create even a complex shader. So it's now up to you how you can connect with different nodes, experiment with it, and create something interesting. So I hope this video helped you to get along with the visual shading inside Godot engine. So hope to see you next time in something different and interesting. So see you in the next one. Goodbye.